the noise, guys.
All the crazy wrestling. All right.
Somebody decided to start recording before I put my snack away.
Sorry. Get my roll all on the camera.
So are you interviewing me, or are we just going to talk on...
Let's just pick a topic that we have great conversation with.
I mean, at this point, you're like the hottest new thing in social media real estate, so talk to us about your real estate
I
portfolio.
wouldn't say that, but I got a little bit of buzz. Our real estate portfolio or my real estate portfolio?
What's yours is mine, what's mine is mine.
I don't think that's how it works.
That's not it?
Mm-mm.
Oh. Yeah, so I am interested because you've had this influx of people hitting you up, and there's, if not for the partnership that we have and the fact that I'm not trying to be a coach, I'd be feeling some kind of way. Like,
What do you mean?
Because I am the resident, like, real estate student, let's say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But your area of expertise, your efforts, your energy, all the stuff that you've done
Mm-hmm.
is now being seen by the public, and people are coming to you for your advisement, right? Like, oh, teach me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be Mr. Helpful and share all the knowledge. Ain't nobody asking me for nothing. That's not true. People have,
Right.
but not like random people out of the blue. I just think it's really cool. So, because I'm just cheering for you in all facets, I don't feel some kind of way,
But why would you though?
Because there would almost be this like, I've spent all this time learning and trying to figure out blah blah blah, and I'm supposed to somehow have this desirable bag of knowledge, I guess. Not that you don't, but if we look at the amount of time we spent just studying this particular topic, I've spent more in recent history. I don't know what you did before we met, but it's like, I just think it's, on the real talk right now, I just think it's dope, and I'm super proud and I'm excited for you. But I did have the thought, like, man, if I was, let's say I was trying to go down that path, it could present some, like, I don't know if it would be jealousy or whatever. I could see that being a thing where I'd have to battle with, like, dang, she's not even really, that's not even what you were trying to do necessarily. But it just happened for you.
This conversation's getting interesting. Well, okay, I hear you. A couple of thoughts around it though. One, you are the student in the way that you are the student. You're going to watch the videos and you're going to join the groups and you're going to do all this other stuff. And rather, I've been along for the journey from the very beginning. Like, there isn't, when I met you, you weren't doing this. This is something that we built together. And whether you're going to read the book and then coming back and we're having whatever conversation and we're building, I've been involved in the entire process. So I don't think you should separate it in that way. Like, well, I'm the one who's doing this. And like, I understand why, because I'm not about to watch all them videos. Not going to do it.
That's the thing. It's not separate. And if anything, I was like, man, it's going to be a good exercise, good practice for you to go through and regurgitate and think about. Because I know every time I have a conversation with somebody, it helps me think through things better and feel like I have a better grasp on it, and sometimes even feel more confident in my ability to execute on something because I could explain it. So it's like I see it as all good.
Right. What I'm saying is I'm not completely ignorant as it relates to real estate.
Of course not.
One, because I've been in this process with you the entire time, but also, like, we moved here and Lynn was being rented out before we even started with a lot of I can't remember the first time we had a short-term rental.
That was 2021. The first.
Right, so like
court in 2020.
Real estate and getting a mortgage and refinancing and cashing out and leveraging equity and being a landlord, like I was doing that stuff. Now there's a creative component to real estate that I had no idea about, and you put me on to understanding creative financing and owner financing and wholesaling and all of the information that you have acquired and shared with me over the years. But like I wasn't completely ignorant to all things real estate. So when people come to me for real estate, people were doing that before I started doing social media stuff. Like if anyone in my family wants to buy a house, they're calling me. Right. So like there is a version of it that I already had. But then I think the synergy that exists is you have all this intricate information, but when it comes to social media or vanity or superficial things, like I'm going to be the one to like dress it up and make it look pretty and make the little video and make the post and all that other stuff. So I probably wouldn't have all of the content without you, and some of the properties or the properties would probably get a quicker buzz and a more palatable representation with me. So like there's a synergy that happens with your skill set and my skill set, all things real estate.
Let me be clear. I don't have any of the negative sentiments at all. I really and truly don't. I just know that there was a thought in the back of my mind like, man, if I could see myself feeling some kind of way. I don't.
But even for that thought to cross your mind is...
I mean, it's honest. Because there's a part of like, and I would imagine this happens with people often enough, where whether it's your friend, your family member, whoever, somebody is saying, let's just say you're wanting to be a coach. Mm-hmm. All right? You start a coaching business. Mm-hmm. You're doing all of this stuff. And then let's just say somebody that you know who is well known in the city all of a sudden becomes a coach because everybody's just like asking them. They weren't trying to necessarily build a coaching business. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, come on, like, dog, I bought the course. I sit on the call.
It's about the execution, baby. It's all about the execution.
But that's the thing. You are executing. So it's not like you're not, but it would almost be as if you were looking at this other person.
No, I'm not using I'm going back to the idea of like, you're doing all the work, but people are asking me to coach them on real estate. Well, it's cool to get the knowledge, but like, put out there what you're doing, show people what you're doing, and talk about, I don't know if you saw the last, you probably didn't. I'll show it to you, the video on my TikTok where it's the same video that I put on Instagram with like me doing all the staging with the time lapse and then like the video cuts of the unit. But I did a voiceover on TikTok where I'm talking about I'm staging the building, have this property here, passive income, generational wealth, like all the buzzwords that get people clicking, and just did this voiceover on the process. Like, you can do all that in silence, but when you show people what you're doing, if they want to be a part of it, they're gonna be intrigued. You have more than enough information and knowledge around real estate to be a coach, more than enough, but you don't put it out there like that.
No, and so there's a few reasons for that, but one of them is there's a thought of just going and doing the work, and if I decide to promote or sell that later, sell the story, I can do it, but I'll have so much backing me in terms of execution, longevity, proven ideas, knowledge, skill, theory, like all this stuff will be legitimized. So
you already have that. It is already legitimized.
Sure. And
legitimate.
I hear you, and I heard Ed when he told me the other day, the same, like I hear people say that, but there's a version of completion that matters to me that is beyond what I've done. And I don't know that even that necessarily matters. I just, as much as I've watched people and admired people and learned from all these people online and on the internet, like I don't think I really want to be that person.
Well,
part of me does, if I'm honest, because I like to talk and I like to coach and I like to sound smart and whatever. So yes, that exists. I admire that part of it as much as I admire the thing that they're doing. But then there's a part of having to keep up the recording and the editing and the post.
Right. It's a lot for sure. It's definitely a lot to be a part of that world, and obviously you know that I struggle with it because it almost takes away from the work that you're doing when you have to like pause and like, because even when we were staging the units and I'm like, don't get in the shot and I gotta do this and I gotta do that, like it is a production to get it done. So I get it.
People end up paying somebody to do that part so you can just
do what you do.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said about completion, I don't think you don't have to be a guru to offer value to somebody in something. And if you think of what you have completed with real estate, like, can you coach somebody on how to purchase a hotel and manage it? Maybe not yet, but if someone's looking to buy their first property, you can do that. If someone's looking to wholesale a property, you can do that. Someone's looking to subject to, you can do that. Someone's looking for short-term rental, you can do that. Someone's looking to own an apartment building, you can do that. Someone's looking for how to get a rehab loan, you can do that. How do you manage construction? You can do that. How do you stage? You can do that. How do you manage a team of people? You can do that. You've completed so much already. So I don't know what your measure of completion is, but I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit for what you have been able to accomplish.
I see all of that, and I understand that I could share whatever information with people, and that's great. But right now, I believe in the niche, and I want to know that I can do it. I want to know that it works.
What's the niche?
Multifamily short-term rentals.
So you just want to...
I need it to work. I need to know that when I say I do multifamily short-term rental, and if I'm ever in front of a panel of people, I can talk about how it changed our lives and blah, 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 or whatever happens.
What does working mean?
Hitting the numbers or something close to it. Like, I analyzed the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we don't have that deal analysis hasn't come to fruition, not completely. Now,
what was your analysis for the slow season with a halfway completed project?
I didn't have one for a halfway completed project. I was supposed to do that for some lender, and I got partway through it and ended up not finishing it. But or
are you not? I guess this is a better question. Based on the flow now, is the trajectory to hit your numbers?
No, because we don't have the bookings to support peak season. Now, if the calendar was starting to get booked heavily for part of the summer, and I could see a trend or I could see some sort of metric based on, okay, most of our 3-night bookings are this much, most of our 6-night bookings are this much, we have a bunch of weekends, we have a couple of weeks. If I could start to put some data together, then yeah, but right now there's just not enough.
But is there not enough just because it's too early to tell, or are you feeling like something's going wrong?
No, it's just too early to tell. I'm not concerned yet. I think by April, if we don't have a significant amount of summertime bookings, I'm going to be a little concerned. Because, I mean, a lot of people are booking right now. They're just maybe booking where they're used to, or booking the stuff that comes up first on Airbnb.
Yeah. Well, that's where I come in, making my videos or connecting with whatever groups and making sure that people know that we're there. If people don't know that we're there, then...
Right, on the direct booking side, but on the channel manager side, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, that people are just going to look for that particular area and go with whatever they see and they like.
I don't think there's cause for concern yet in terms of the deal analysis not panning out. It just hasn't happened yet. And I'm not going to celebrate that part of the win until it's happened. Because
you got to celebrate some wins, though.
I mean, I did. I felt really good about owning a 10-unit building and fighting the good fight for the better part of 9 months to get it and learning.
Why did you use past tense?
Because I did that already. Like, I did the feel good about yourself, sit back, take a look, take it all in, be at the beach, do the whole thing. But that was a moment. There were multiple moments, but those moments happened. Now it's get back to work because there's still an unfinished goal. So I can't, the saying is stop and smell the roses, but it's not stop and smell the roses indefinitely or stay smelling. Like at some point you got to keep going. And then later you look up at the sky and you appreciate it and you take a moment. I took my moments. Now it's just the work to finalize this so I can say, I set out to do this, I did the work, and this thing happened. Short of that, it's just a bunch of lessons learned and smaller wins along the way. The other stuff, I honestly, not to be overconfident, but I feel like I can do in the background. If somebody calls me back from one of these letters I sent out on a wholesale deal, I know how to have the negotiation conversation. I know how to analyze the property value and the value of the deal and package it up. I know how to market it. And depending on where it is, I either have the lawyers already that can close it or I can get them. I can probably close it if it's a really good deal in 30 days or less. Like if somebody called me tomorrow, they could have their house sold in 30 days. No money out of pocket, they could leave it like it is, the whole thing. If somebody called me and was like, oh, I'm stuck in pre-foreclosure.
Go ahead, talk your shit. Go ahead.
I don't know what to do. Well, depending on how much they owed, we could get that done in 30 days or less. More than likely.
Period.
So on and so forth. The things that I've done, if somebody was like, oh, like if we bought let's say we did buy another subject to property and we need to put a lease option in it, we can do that.
You do realize you're saying everything I just said, right?
What I'm saying is those things that I can speak to are completed. That's why I feel so confident.
But you want to complete the multifamily piece for you to begin coaching, for you to feel a certain level of accomplishment?
Yes, it's the accomplishment, but it's also the confidence to go do it again. The reason I can speak, I've done one wholesale deal, one subject to deal, one lease option deal, and 3 short-term rental condos that we bought, managed from a distance and sold. And everyone, and just a normal, used to be my house, now it's a rental property. All that stuff is now behind me, either still making money today, profitable, or has made us money, and we're now reaping longer term benefits of that profit because we sold them. I can go do those things again. Don't worry about the radio. That's how you know we in a real house. This isn't staged. This isn't some backdrop. This is a real deal. A real radiator, like Getty's house. But that's what I'm saying. It's not the confidence of really speaking about it. Here's the problem. I can talk about everything. Everything I've done, everything I haven't done. I can talk for hours about all the stuff you could and should and might can do in all the various situations. I can give you ideas for days. But I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't want to be the guy who has all the YouTube University information, but, okay, well, show me where you did this.
Right, but going back to the initial conversation, it's, man, I'm doing all this stuff, but people are asking you for the real estate.
That's what I'm saying.
You have all...
Yeah, I really don't have a problem.
And more of the... I know, but what I'm saying is even... Now this one...
It's all good. Real deal. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a radiator. And, when you live in the cold in Massachusetts and these radiators got to kick on and make a lot of noise sometimes. That just means they're working and we're not going to be here freezing, so we're good.
Well, I would love if you did start coaching, or you built a program, or even if you don't want to actually execute it, you build a program and I'll execute it. Like,
I will say the ghost coaching thing was like, maybe she'll come to me when she gets stuck or just wants to run something past me.
I come to you all the time, which I actually have a software question because one of my clients, it has a question about websites and whatnot. And I was like, oh, my husband's in IT, so I'll ask him. Like, you are the resident IT person. Even stuff with business, because you do a lot. You do the legwork with a lot of the stuff. I'm just kind of like the muscle, the battery in the back, the cheerleader. So I come to you all the time for information. Which...
we come to each other for information. I come to you all the time for advice or direction or second opinion or view or whatever. Or the assurance to make a decision, direction, whatever. But that's because we're married.
But if we were just friends, I would still come to you.
Sure, and I appreciate that, but that's, again, it's based on a relationship. I don't know if I necessarily want to be a coach. I don't know if I ever really would take the time to create some sort of YouTube presence and become one of those guys. In my brain, I would like to. It sounds like a nice idea to sit on here and talk and tell people all the stuff that I know and make money because people watch the videos and YouTube page. Like, sure, that would be great. But the amount of time and energy that goes into that.
It's a lot of time and energy.
For a consistent amount of time is like, all right, I don't know if I'm at a place in my career as an investor or whatever that I'm ready to make that a stream of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I don't realize it too late and miss the opportunity. But while everything else is going on, it's like I can't really prioritize that. But I would probably like to, at the very least, be invited to like a panel discussion. So not just sitting in the room, but being one of the voices of knowledge and experience and giving information back to a group of people. I would love to do that. Like, if it's just...
You would do that present day?
Yeah, I would do that right now.
So why haven't you sought those opportunities? You want to be invited to them?
I don't even know where to start, really. It was funny, Debbie was talking about her and Ed going on like a 6-city tour, teaching and just doing what they do.
Why don't you say, let me come with and share my information?
I thought about it, but...
What?
On the one hand, I don't know about just inviting yourself to somebody else's thing that they're doing.
People do that all the time. Like when you're navigating social media, like the whole we've talked about this, the whole concept of like using other people's audiences, that takes you being forward and promoting yourself. Like, look, I have this resource, I have this information. Let me jump on your page and share this with your audience so it benefits your audience, and I have a benefit. I receive a benefit out of it as well. Like, you have to be forward and imposing in a way to get yourself in those positions.
Sure. So on last Wednesday, when I was at the bowling alley listening to the RIA meeting, there's some young guy on there, he's like 26, and he's figured out how to JV on multifamily. So he's got all these properties that he's bought and is working on, and he's like actively doing the work. Tells a story, great story. Young black dude from, can't remember if it was somewhere in the Caribbean or he's African or something like that. So just cool story. And listening to him talk, on the one hand, I'm listening to the very conventional, rudimentary stuff that people say when they're on these platforms. Like, there's just a certain things you have to talk about. And I'm like, okay, like everybody has to do this, that's fine. But then just appreciating the fact that he can say, I can't remember the number, but I've transacted on X amount of dollars of real estate at this point. It's like, that's amazing. And I guess I could do that. I could say, well, let me tally it up. Bought this house, sold these, bought this, own this, control this. Total dollar amount of real estate that I've transacted on or managed or whatever is whatever the number would be. And maybe to some people,
what is the number? If you could give a quick, what would the number be?
If I wanted to like shoot the highest number, so let's just say 1.5, probably close to 2 million. Yeah, maybe. But it's like, in the world of real estate, $2 million of real estate is barely getting started. So, like,
but to a novice investor who's looking to get into the world, or someone who doesn't own property yet, a single property, and depending on what region of the world you're in, that's quite the accomplishment.
Sure, it's 5 properties, total of 13 doors, which 2 years ago would have sounded...
But think about that, even for you... 2 years ago, if someone said you would have transacted on $2 million worth of properties and 13 doors, you'd be like... It's so hard to just not be unimpressed by it. This isn't some like, oh, I'm trying to be... it's... For some reason, for me, it's like I'm not impressed. Okay, so let's talk about coaching and what I do, right? Okay. There are so many conversations we have where I'm like, well, I don't know about this, that, and the third because, like, I'm not Oprah. Like, what do I really have to offer? But you can rattle off very easily managing this, managing that, showing up this way, doing this, executing on this, and all of the things that a lot of women want to be able to achieve or want to be able to learn how to do or want some help doing and need that support. The same applies for all of the people in the world that haven't transacted on $2 million worth of real estate.
I hear you. And I'm not questioning that if you put me in one of those rooms that I would bring value. That would be the difference, because I knew where you were going. That would be the difference. I'm not questioning the value of the knowledge that I would be sharing or the skill that I've developed. It's just, and I guess it's always it's not even grass is greener on the other side. It's just you're always looking up. And you're always looking up to, so going back to Ed and Debbie doing their thing, right? I don't know how much they've done over the years, but they've been in this game at least 20, 30 years, probably both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
at least 20, 30 years, both of them.
Right. But I'm thinking like that may not be the setting to invite myself to because I'm still early in my journey, whereas they are wherever they are in their journey. Now, if they were to say like, oh, we want somebody who's a little bit newer, like somebody we've been working
right.
with.
Like first of all, real estate 20, 30 years ago probably looks a little different now with the different tools that are available, whatever platforms you can utilize. So having new blood and fresh eyes is certainly a benefit. And I'm sure that even with 20, 30 years of experience, there are some things that you have done that maybe that's not their area.
Sure. Even, I mean, the other day, I don't know if you remember, Debbie was sort of probing.
Right. And the question she was asking is like, well, of course I've done all that stuff because that's what you do in this. So you can't.
But that's the thing. I'm not minimizing.
Discredit, right, and minimize what you've done and what you do and what you bring to say that you can't sit at that table.
I'm not saying I can't. I'm saying I wouldn't have invited myself. If Debbie were to call me and say, hey, that tour that we're going on, we think we need a third, or we think we need somebody who's next up or whatever, I'd be like, yo, that's crazy. I appreciate it. I'm honored. Like, let me see if I can work out the details.
See, you want to keep playing this humble thing, and
no,
you gotta be like, hey, I would love the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. What are your thoughts about like me coming on a couple of those?
I mean, I was saying it as if that would have been my response had she invited me.
Sure. What I'm saying is
invite myself. I get it.
Just a thought.
I mean,
but
maybe.
Obviously, you just aren't in a space where that's the route you want to go right now. So, fine.
I just don't know if inviting myself is the look. I don't know. I think she would be receptive to it, even if it was like, nah, you know, this is just our thing right now, or whatever she would say if the answer was no, and I wouldn't be offended, but it would be kind of whack to be like, hey, man, can I come?
I mean, you never know unless you put it out there. The worst she can say is no, and then you just crawl back in the corner with your tail between your legs.
I would probably say the same to you if you had the same opportunity. So
exactly.
But that wasn't. It would be different if it was on my radar. If I was putting that out there and I was saying, this is the next thing for me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So this isn't something that you are trying to do right now. And you're like, oh, I invited myself on the move. If this was something you were trying to do, you would have no problem being forward.
It's not something that I'm actively pursuing, but I would do it in a heartbeat. Like, so again, let's just say I was back in North Carolina for a week and Debbie was on a panel and she asked, I would go. But I wouldn't I'm not proactively going to, like you said, why am I not seeking out those opportunities? I don't know if I really have an answer why I'm not. It's just, other than I'm just so focused on this other stuff. I think I just need to continue grinding, come up, breathe a little bit, and then see what's next.
My hands are so long. Look how long they are. I just look at them in the camera and I feel like they're as long as like, look at my hand compared to my face.
I don't know if that's abnormal though.
Let me see, put your hand up to your face.
My hands are really ashy.
I know, but you have them in the camera the entire time.
See, look, that's my old...
I don't know, maybe it's because my sleeves are not like super long or something, but I feel like my hand, like I look like a dinosaur or something, like some sort of creature.
I think some of that is also the camera angle and the way it
Well,
looks.
no, because even when we were making my videos, I was looking at the way my hands were laying on the laptop.
Still.
And I'm like, I look like a freaking dinosaur.
There you go.
Well, that was a nice chat. I want to chop it up, make you some content.
That's funny.
Why is that funny?
I don't know. What am I going to do with content right now?
I don't know.
That's the thing. If I had somebody to coach or mentor, I would just do it because I'm not.
Let me manage your coaching and mentoring business.
That's the thing. I'm not trying to start a business.
You want to have 1 million businesses. Where's your your corporate structure chart? Where did I put it? Somewhere in that pile. Your corporate structure. You want 10 LLCs underneath the S Corp umbrella.
I mean, eventually, because I just want to be. I want to do that much, but I also may not. I could probably stick with what we're doing for a while.
That's certainly.
But it's already
new.
It's already a lot. Like having multiple businesses, having multiple entities, putting in the work to make 3 different industries. Real estate and all that real estate is, because it's not even like we're just doing one thing in real estate, but we'll just say real estate, car rentals, and e-commerce. If we put in the work to make all of those consistent streams of income, that would take hours and hours and hours and days, and it would take a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be okay if we ended up with some pretty lucrative income streams from just that work. I mean, right now, I can't even give attention to the third one. So
you don't want to have a coaching business?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, but I already do.
I know,
so for people who are hitting me up about real estate,
I'll just be in the background. You hit me up when you need. Or if there was ever a situation where you felt it was more beneficial for us to both have a conversation with someone, sure, I'll join. But it's still you doing what you do with me supporting you in whatever way you need support. I will be more of the when Devon and Danielle bought their house, help walk them through whatever I could help them out with, encourage them to do whatever I encourage them to do along the way. Talking to my nephew, Jaden's out in the Air Force in New Mexico. Bro, you have a golden opportunity with all things life right now to get started in real estate early and possibly own 4, 5, 10 doors by the time you're 30 just by following this little strategy that I can show you.
Right. Okay, so that strategy that you can show him, just create like a tangible strategy that can be patented and copywritten, and let's use that.
I mean, if you want something that you can present, sure, I will help you create it so that you have an offering that is in that space. As many YouTube videos as I watch where people get on whatever platform and they're selling a course and they're selling a program and they're offering coaching and I learn a lot from all these people. I do. And I even grab nuggets and bring them back to you. But the more I watch, the more I'm like, I don't think this is where I'm going to be. Now, don't get me wrong. I love to have a podcast too. But I respect the energy and the effort that it takes to make any of this stuff good.
Right.
And to make it really make money and not just be either some gimmick or a flash in the pan. I want to be either one.
Flash in the pan.
So when like something sparks in a skillet, it's only there for a little bit. Like it doesn't stay lit. Like you can spark something or like something. Sometimes things catch on fire.
But you always have these old people sayings.
It's
Where do you?
It's not even
get
that.
This
I mean,
stuff.
I don't know. I guess it's old.
And you know what's so frustrating is I start saying it. I start saying, you know what I say now all the time?
Par for the course.
Par for the course. And I remember the first time you said that, I was like, what are you talking about? And now it's like, it's par for the course, par for the course, par. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
You say it to me all the time. I just think it's funny. But no, flash in the pan is, like that.
Anyway, yes, I understand what you're saying. And I don't think that we just need to hop on the podcast or content creation bandwagon. However, there is value to be offered. And the reality is we do this stuff for people in our lives all the time anyway.
If we weren't working full-time jobs, if that was just, if the need to work a full-time job was completely taken care of, which is the goal that I'm working towards, then it changes things because then I can focus on making sure all the systems that need to be in place, all the people that need to be in place to run the stuff that I've already done, so I don't have to touch it unless it's dire emergency. I can just streamline my focus on setting things up to where I can walk away. Then, as I'm going to build the next thing, I can be focused on a podcast, content creation, offering my knowledge to a broader audience. Maybe it'll be 100 people when it's all said and done, but okay, out of those 100 people, maybe we help a few of them that we wouldn't have touched had we not started a YouTube channel, started a podcast. That's fine. I'm okay with that. It doesn't need to be tens of millions, and maybe that thing never really becomes an income stream, but at least it drives, well, it gives us an opportunity to give knowledge, which is great, but it also may drive some traffic to what we're doing. So business increases in whatever way it does. But so what's the point of you wanting to coach as a business? Because like you say, you coach all the time. You transition, you have to do all this other stuff. You want to coach for a business because what? Not just to make money, we know that. Mm-hmm. What is it?
Well, for me, it's really, I like to think of it as a passion project. Or not project, because I take it seriously. It's like, it's not something that I'm like doing for leisure. But when I do any sort of introspection assessment in anything I've ever done in my life, I feel the most fulfilled when I'm coaching or mentoring or pouring into other people in their success. I truly just feel it's my purpose. That's what people use me for and what I enjoy being used for. Like, I enjoy pouring into people, and I am doing it all the time anyway. And I'm realizing that there are people who do this for a living. And if I can take something that I enjoy doing and I'm just going to do regardless of what role I'm in, it doesn't matter. Even when in the pharmaceutical world, my team still calls me to be supported with something that they're struggling with, or to navigate some clinical training we have to do, or maybe they're just having a hard time processing the job and the difficulty of it. Like, it doesn't matter the industry that I'm in. It's just something I do. And if there are people who are making money off of it, if I can figure out how to transition to doing something I love and I'm super passionate about and it sustained my lifestyle, why wouldn't I pursue that opportunity? If anyone had the opportunity to marry passion and income, why wouldn't they go after it?
Right. So take all of that and think about me not coaching. Because I have these other interests and these other areas of focus where I enjoy the work and I want to make the money off of the work, but I still have a desire to do the other thing, and being a voice of reason or a mentor or a help to people is also a part of my history with friends and family. So I do want to continue to become someone who's valuable to others with my knowledge and skill and willingness to share. I just don't know if I would ever go down the path of, okay, let me monetize coaching.
I don't know if that would be true, again, if the time constraints weren't there. But like coaching in business specifically, well, one, you and I, majority of our conversations about business anyway, majority of our interactions are about business. We are building family business all the time. And I offer whatever I offer to our relationship. I have also now helped people in my personal life in building their business. So me coaching and me having a coaching business is still not, although I would like for it to be my bread and butter 100%, like I'm still looking to build businesses. Like I want to purchase a business. Like that's still something I want to do and will help me in my coaching endeavors because like I'm doing the thing. So you don't have to stop doing all the stuff to coach. Like that could just be part of all of it.
But right now, if you could have that as your primary, you would. For me, my primary, I told you when we were at the beach, and I think I said when I got back, like, if I could just get up every day and do deals and then go do the family stuff, like, I'd be cool.
That's not all you said.
There were some other personal things that I like to be able to do. But for the sake of this being able to be watched by children.
Why would children be watching this?
Hey, they might want to get some knowledge about how to be a family business or something. Shout out to Quest and Quest Talk. But
why would you plug him in subsequent to that? Because now, like, he can't even appreciate the shout out.
Anyway, maybe we'll edit it. So, but that's the difference. You have, if you could pick one thing that you would do and it was going to make enough money, you'd be coaching. If like it was something active. Now if you said,
well, I mean, I appreciate the passivity of real estate and.
But you ain't trying to be finding deals and being on
No.
the phone with it, like
No,
and I
no,
don't
because
really
it's the passive piece that I appreciate. Like, I
I
want to be able to wake up and do whatever it is I want to do. Hair, nails, beach, massage. Like, that's what I want my life to look like.
right, but you also enjoy the work of the coaching piece.
I do. I enjoy it.
I enjoy
It is fulfilling. It's truly like,
I know. And somehow I've gotten into like finding deals, analyzing deals, and like I actually enjoy it. I enjoy the
You enjoy that?
appreciation, and yeah, it something about it. It's like I guess it's the
Stimulating?
problem solving.
mm,
Because you find, first of all, you got to find the house. Okay, that part's kind of annoying, but once you find something, and you need to see if it works. All right, let me run these numbers, do this, do that. Once it starts to come together and you think it might work, and then it's just a matter of, oh, can I get the seller to agree to this deal? I can do it. I can do it over and over again. And there are certain aspects of the real estate work that is very tedious and I don't like it, but then there are certain aspects of it that if you just said it, all right, sit down, just need you to analyze these deals until you find one. I could do that. And I don't know, maybe if I did it for a month, I'd be like, all right, that's enough. But the hours that I spend on it here and the hours that I spend on it there, I could stay up. I could, I'm supposed to be doing this thing, but here's another opportunity. Let me just make sure this works or doesn't work. Because it's just exciting to think that deal could generate hundreds to thousands of dollars a month in passive or semi-passive revenue if I can make it work.
you know what I like about real estate?
The money,
Yeah, that.
the passivity. Yeah.
That. But I mean, like, in terms of doing the work,
What?
the staging and creating the content.
Oh, yeah.
See, I'll create real estate content. It's the coaching content that's like, I don't want to be a gimmick. I don't want to be a part of that, the oversaturation of, let me help you grow your business to 6 figures. Like, just let me help you, period. Whatever that is.
That's the other thing. The right real estate deal is helping someone. And as many coaches and YouTube gurus and whoever talk about that, I won't say sell that, but they talk about it. When you really, if you're the type of person who really cares about people and you buy into that, to think that our very first deal was a pre-foreclosure. We bought subject to, so we stopped the foreclosure from happening. Those people went on to be able to do whatever they needed to do without having this foreclosure on their credit, and to not have to pay their mortgage anymore, so they just got to walk away. Then we had this young Hispanic dude who was trying to buy a house, had the means to do it.
Latino.
This young Latino gentleman who had the means, the resources to purchase a property, didn't have the setup as an American citizen and whatever to buy a property. Couldn't just go get a loan and put some money down. So we put him and his family, new baby, girl, wife, mother, in this house with a lease option. And now they're in a position where they can buy this house in the next 3 years, should they exercise their option to purchase. So yes, we made money on the front end of the transaction. We make a monthly income, and we will make money with whatever equity is left in the deal whenever he buys it. Great for us. But that family, better off than they would have been with the foreclosure. This other family, maybe they would have found a house eventually, but they found something that they liked and that worked for their family, and we were able to get it to them at a good price. And the reality is, if he did exercise his right to an option to purchase, you'd be walking into a lot of equity, because on the market, the house is worth a lot more today than it was in 2020. So, you know, I just know that there's people in these situations, and we just gotta find them. People that are out there that are going through whatever life situations dealt them that they're dealing with, and if I could meet them, if they could have a conversation with me, we might be able to offer a solution to a problem that they have no idea how to get out of. And I remember being in that space. So that part of it still exists. And I'm telling you, I don't think I have the patience to sit there and do what you do.
What do you mean?
There's a version of you as a coach, you as a friend coach, as a professional coach, as a family member coach. I don't know if I have the patience for how some people, like, what they need. You ask certain questions, and you can allow people to be comfortable in overcoming their ignorance just because it's part of life. And I just sometimes, I don't know if I could like do the step 1, step 2, step 3. All right, last week we did step 1, step. All right, this week we're gonna do step 1, step 2, step 3 again, and then okay, next week, all right, we got past step 1. Now it's step 2. Like, all right, you're not trying to work. It's the reason that I would have a hard time coaching small children. And it's the reason that I had a hard time coaching teenagers, middle school and high school kids, that really wasn't about who. I just, like, there's a certain energy that I need to be able to coach and to motivate. I need you to be like I am about the work.
I mean, that's a part of it. It's difficult to coach people who they don't want to execute on, or not that they don't want to, they aren't executing on the work, but there's typically reasons behind that. And part of coaching is, well, let's try to figure out what's going on that's preventing you from executing. And that's when we're talking about imposter syndrome, or talking about bad habits that people have, or bringing clarity to a thought because they're so scatterbrained, or it's so cloudy. The point of a coach is more than just the talking about the skill of getting through the process, but the art of navigating why accomplishing goals is a win. Like, it's not easy to just go and execute your goals. I mean, there's life happening, and especially with the demographic that I'm working with, I have moms. I'm working with moms, or you know, wives, or people who are juggling multiple things, and to have someone sort of like hold your hand and get you through the crowd. I mean, that it does take patience, but you have to understand that it's not just going to be like, here's your checklist, just go do it. If that was the case, they wouldn't need a coach.
I know. I hear you. And I just listen to some of the conversation and go, yeah, I couldn't. I just wouldn't want to sit there and do this for that long.
It can be challenging sometimes. But when you can take someone who is struggling and get them to execute or accomplish something, it's so fulfilling to be like,
I can only imagine.
I'm just thinking of even the hair salon, right? To have her in July say, next year I want this to happen, and deal with all the conversations that went this way and this didn't get done, and I sent this form 5 times and she still hasn't done it yet. Like, all of the stuff that goes into it. Every time I pull up to that salon and see the name on the building 6 months prior to schedule,
you did that.
like all the navigating and the frustration, etc. Like it's.
I'm trying to tell you, you do great work. You work miracles for people, but you don't want to listen.
I don't work miracles.
Look,
like I said, I'm just the muscle. I'm the battery in the back, the cheerleader. You can do it. Let me hold your hand.
I have a hard time. If you ain't trying to work, it's just, man, if you ain't trying to put in that work.
But there are reasons why. I think about Mason.
Mason be fighting too.
If we gave into his frustration or his attitude or his lack of motivation or all the things that indicate that he is not in the mood to work and let that take over, his dreams, all of the things that he could accomplish would just fall by the wayside.
But that's the thing. If Mason's not my kid, I don't want to do this. I'm going to run.
That's not true, because you took him under your wing as a step parent, and you were able to adjust because you care about the outcome of his life. You have to care about the outcome of someone's success to be patient with them during the challenges or the times that they're in their own way.
I care. I really do. I care a lot. Sometimes too much for people. I think that's it. That's the counterbalance to all of my, I love people and blah, blah, blah. At the same time, I just don't have a lot of patience for the lack of work ethic, the lack of motivation, and the lack of wanting to get better. And somebody understanding that the hard part has to be appreciated. You don't have to love it like I think some of us do, but you definitely got to be able to appreciate this is hard, and I'm okay with that, because I know it being the fact that it's difficult, it's making me better.
Yeah, but most people ain't trying to hear that. It's
That's why I couldn't coach most people. I couldn't coach most kids.
I think it's a very valuable sentiment, and I think the world would be wonderful if everyone thought that way. But sometimes life is just hard. Sometimes it's just hard to get things done, especially the world that we're in right now with, coming out of COVID, and everyone had to adjust, and everyone was isolated, and the schools were shut down, and now everyone's weird, and jobs have done what they've done, and all of the violence that we've had that's being pumped into our brain all the time on social media, and we're addicted to our devices, and we don't communicate with it. It is hard to get things done. It is. As a woman, because that's who I work with, women, the pressure to be this phenomenal, perfect mother who's raising the perfect, well-mannered, intelligent, athletic, well-rounded child, and be a perfect, submissive, but strong wife, and stay in shape and look good, but don't be too much. And it is hard to get things done sometimes. There's a lot to juggle, and there's a lot to focus on. And sometimes people just need a little grace and someone to be patient with them and hold their hand through the mess and the chaos. It's hard to just keep going and what is it? Go hard, no excuses, or that mentality can wear on you, and it can not always be sustainable, especially if you aren't pouring into yourself in a way that allows you to have that stamina. And when you have children, or you have a spouse, or you have family that's leaning on you, or a job that's super demanding, your cup gets empty really quickly. So you have to be patient with people.
No, you have to be patient with people. I only have to be patient with people that I'm trying to.
You're patient with
buy
me?
a house from. Yeah, because.
So you're able to be patient?
I'm also not coaching you.
You coach me all the time.
But I'm not. You didn't hire me to coach you.
I did when I said I do.
Listen.
That was your start date.
Listen, the only reason I could coach the kids when they weren't very good is because, like in Jarius' case, Jarius was out there.
Well, don't make
But
it seem
also-
like he wasn't that good.
No, I'm just saying, like, the
other
out
kids.
there,
Okay.
the other kids. It's like, all right, man, these dudes, even in football, it was fun to be out there. I enjoyed it, but to do that for multiple seasons as the kids got older and a little bit better and whatever was challenging. But the idea that some people just stay at the same level, they just stay coaching middle schoolers, that you're gonna get like 3 kids that can play maybe every year or so. I just can't even. That's what I'm saying. Like, you are that type of. All right, let me just sit here. Let me work with them, and let me get them to wherever they can go. And better you than me. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, food's here.
Food is here, and it's cold outside.
You have any words for the people?
Nope. I love you. Good job.
I think I might need a coach.